Story 1. The Whispering Tunnel. Nestled deep in the heart of a forgotten forest lies a tunnel that locals dare not enter. Known as the Whispering Tunnel, it has been the subject of terrifying tales for generations. The tunnel, carved into the hillside, was originally built in the late 1800s as part of a railway project that was eventually abandoned. Now, it serves as the perfect backdrop for one of the most disturbing urban legends in the region. According to the legend, the Whispering Tunnel is haunted by the spirits of workers who perished during its construction. The project was plagued by accidents and mysterious deaths, leading to its eventual abandonment. But it wasn't just the physical dangers that caused the workers' demise. Those who survived spoke of hearing strange whispers emanating from the tunnel's depths, voices that called to them, luring them deeper into the dark. The whispers, they claimed, were not of this world. One particularly chilling account involves a young man named Sam, who was dared by his friends to spend the night in the tunnel. Confident and eager to prove himself, Sam accepted the challenge, armed with nothing but a flashlight and a backpack. He ventured into the tunnel as his friends watched from the entrance. The tunnel was cold and damp, with the air growing heavier the further he walked. Sam tried to ignore the strange sensation creeping over him, attributing it to nerves. But then he heard it, a faint whisper, almost inaudible, coming from the darkness ahead. He stopped, straining to hear, but the whispering ceased. Dismissing it as the wind, Sam continued on. But the further he walked, the louder the whispers became. They seemed to surround him, echoing off the walls, each voice overlapping the other, until he could no longer make out what they were saying. Panic began to set in, and Sam turned to leave. But the whispers grew frantic, angry, as if the spirits were enraged by his decision to leave. He broke into a run, but no matter how fast he went, the tunnel seemed to stretch on forever. The whispers turned into screams, deafening him, causing his head to pound with pain. And then, just as suddenly as they had started, they stopped. Sam emerged from the tunnel hours later, covered in dirt and sweat, his eyes wide with terror. He didn't speak of what happened inside, and his friends, too scared to ask, simply helped him back to town. From that day on, Sam was never the same. He refused to speak, refused to sleep, and eventually he disappeared without a trace. Some say the Whispering Tunnel claimed him, just as it had claimed so many others before him. To this day, the tunnel remains, its entrance overgrown and hidden, but the whisperers can still be heard by those who dare to get too close. Story 2. The Red-Eyed Beast of Hollow Woods. In the small town of Hollow Creek, surrounded by dense woods and hidden valleys, a legend has been passed down through generations, one that has left even the bravest souls trembling with fear. The story of the Red-Eyed Beast is more than just a local myth. It's a warning, a tale of terror that continues to haunt the town to this day. The legend speaks of a monstrous creature with glowing red eyes that lurks within the darkest parts of Hollow Woods. The beast, they say, is a remnant of an ancient curse placed upon the land by a group of settlers who had been wronged. The curse was meant to protect the land from intruders, and the red-eyed beast was its enforcer. The story goes that the beast was once a man, a settler who had been betrayed by his own people. Consumed by rage and a thirst for vengeance, he made a pact with dark forces, transforming himself into a creature of unimaginable horror. His eyes, once filled with sorrow, now burn with an unquenchable fire, seeking out those who dare to enter his domain. Over the years, many have ventured into Hollow Woods, either out of curiosity or disbelief in the legend. Most returned, shaken but unharmed, recounting tales of eerie silence and strange rustlings in the underbrush. But some, those who dared to go deeper into the woods, were never seen again. One such case involved a group of teenagers who, like many before them, thought the legend was nothing more than an old wives' tale. They set out one evening, determined to spend the night in the heart of the woods to prove that the red-eyed beast was a figment of imagination. The night was cold, the air thick with fog as they made their way through the woods. Hours passed without incident, and the group began to relax, laughing at the absurdity of the legend. But as midnight approached, the atmosphere changed. The woods grew unnervingly quiet, and the fog thickened, reducing their visibility to mere feet. Then they saw it, a pair of glowing red eyes staring at them from the darkness. Panic set in as the eyes moved closer, revealing the monstrous form of the beast. Its breath was hot and foul, its growl deep and menacing. The teenagers ran, stumbling through the fog, the beast close on their heels. In the chaos, they became separated, each one running in a different direction. The last thing they heard was the blood-curdling scream of one of their friends as the beast caught up to him. When morning came, the search party found only 3 of the teenagers. They were huddled together, shaking with fear, unable to speak of what they had seen. The 4th was never found to this day. The people of Hollow Creek avoid hollow woods, especially after dark. The red-eyed beast remains a terrifying reminder of the curse that haunts the land, a creature born of anger and vengeance, doomed to protect its cursed territory for all eternity. For Spory 3, the vanishing hitchhiker. In the rural town of Brookside, there's an old highway that stretches for miles through desolate countryside. It's a lonely road, often shrouded in mist, with few travelers willing to take it after dark, but those who do are warned to keep their eyes on the road and never, under any circumstances, pick up hitchhikers. This warning stems from a chilling urban legend that has been told for decades. The story of the vanishing hitchhiker. According to the legend, a young woman in a white dress is often seen standing by the side of the road, her thumb out, seeking a ride from passing motorists. She appears to be lost, her face pale and her eyes filled with sadness. Drivers who stop to pick her up are met with a soft-spoken woman who gives vague directions, asking to be taken to a nearby town. She speaks little during the ride, and some say they can feel the cold emanating from her as if she's not entirely of this world. As they near the town, the woman asks to be dropped off at an old, rundown house at the edge of the highway. The driver, relieved to have completed the journey, stops the car, but when they turn to say goodbye, the woman is gone, vanished without a trace. Confused and unsettled, they drive away, only to find later that the house has been abandoned for years. The story goes that the young woman was a bride-to-be who died in a tragic accident on her wedding day. She had been driving to the church when her car skidded off the road in the rain, killing her instantly. Now, her restless spirit haunts the highway, searching for someone to take her home. One night, a man named Tom was driving down the highway after visiting friends in the next town over. It was late and the fog was thick, making it difficult to see more than a few feet ahead. As he rounded a bend, he saw her, a young woman in a white dress, standing by the side of the road. Remembering the stories, Tom hesitated but decided to stop. She seemed so real, so desperate, and he couldn't just leave her there. He pulled over and she silently climbed into the passenger seat. Her presence was unnerving, and Tom could feel the hairs on the back of his neck stand up. She gave him directions in a soft, almost ethereal voice, guiding him to a small town a few miles away. As they approached the outskirts, she pointed to an old house in the distance, asking to be led out there. Tom pulled up to the house and turned to speak to her, but she was gone. The seat was empty, as if she had never been there. Shaken, Tom drove to the nearest gas station and asked the attendant about the house. The man's face grew pale as he explained that the house had been abandoned for years, ever since the young bride who lived there died in a car accident on her wedding day. Tom realized then that he had encountered the vanishing hitchhiker, her spirit forever bound to the highway, searching for the home she could never return to.